Oh no!
Hello again, everyone. I'm Germain, host of INFOcus People and Places, seen on MCTV Channel 15. And also, a big hello to our new viewers in Bristol on NEAT, Northeast Addison Television. So glad to have you on board as well. We've got a great show in store for you. Today, we're going to find out all about Toys for Tots. The director of that, Jen Heffernan, is going to be joining us here in just a few moments to tell us all about that, what it's all about, and where you can drop those new unwrapped toys off and monetary donations. We should mention right off that we will have a list of those drop-off sites for money and those toys on our website, which is INFOcusontv.com. And besides that, you'll find out things about past shows, current shows, and upcoming works as well, things we have in store for you as we head towards the new year 08. And also, special treat for you a little bit later on in the program, we will go behind the scenes of our host, our parent station here that airs our program INFOcus People and Places here in Middlebury. That's MCTV. Channel 15. There is also Channel 16. We're going to find out what the difference is between those two channels and what goes on behind the scenes as we are joined by the staff of this fine television station. That would be Dick Thodall, the executive director of MCTV, and also the youth programs coordinator, Jody Burgadick, will be joining us as well. So we're going to turn the tables on those folks and put them in front of the camera instead of behind it where they do all their special work most of the time. So we will do our special work informing you about all of this and much, much more coming up on today's program. But first, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment to talk with Jen Heffernan about Toys for Tots right after these words.
Hi, my name is Nancy Wilson. I'm talking to you from the Lawrence Memorial Library in Bristol, Vermont. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what's coming up the week of December 10th. We have our regular Monday morning story times at 10:30. That's for toddlers ages 18 months to 3 years. And that includes some books and finger plays and songs for the children. There is no pre-registration required for that. We also have a story time on Thursday morning for kids that are a little bit older who can sit still for a little bit longer. That's at 10 o'clock. It's our preschool story time. And no registration is required for that either. You can call us for more information about either of those events. Since it's the second week in December, I'd really love to tell you a little bit about some of the holiday cooking books we have at the library. We have a great cookbook by the American Diabetes Association if you're concerned about the amount of sugar and the diabetics in your family might be exposed to. Someone actually just returned this and said it was a great cookbook, so I'm really happy to be able to recommend it. And it is a special diet cookbook, but appropriate for the holidays. This is a great cookbook called An Edible Christmas, and it has lots of traditional recipes as well as some new and interesting recipes for Christmas time. And here's a book about making gifts, food-based gifts for the holiday season, and some in jars and things like that people like to give for Christmas. Do you remember the Frugal Gourmet? He hasn't been around for a while, but we still have his book, The Frugal Gourmet Celebrates Christmas. And he is frugal, and his ingredients don't cost an arm and a leg, and he does makes beautiful, beautiful dishes. So we have that cookbook. And last, but of course not least, cookies for Christmas. So if you are doing a cookie exchange at work, or do have cookies for your family, you'd be wise to take this book out. It has lots of unusual and interesting recipes, some things that are a little different, poinsettia cookies, for example. And these cookbooks will be on display for the month of December, and a special display in our hallway of holiday books. So come in and take out a book and check out the library at the same time. We are open on Monday from 10 until 5, Tuesday and Thursday 10 until 8, Wednesday 1 to 5, Friday 1 to 5, and Saturday 9 to 1. We are at 40 North Street in Bristol, and our phone number is 453-2366. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. INFOcus People and Places. If you're just tuning in, we are decked out for the holidays, and so is our guest, Jen Heffernan.
Hi.
She is here all bubbly, ho, 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 and deck the halls and all that.
Yes. Hi, Jerry. How are you?
I am okay. Jen, you represent locally Toys for Tots.
Yes.
That's what we're going to focus on right now here on INFOcus, no pun intended. You have brought along a little reindeer.
Yes. And a lot of you out there, the viewers, might see these locally in Addison County.
And the big boxes.
Yes.
With the pictures
Yes,
of Santa.
This is our poster this year for the 2007 Toys for Tots campaign.
When did it officially get underway? Because I've seen things out there for a while now.
Yeah, I would say we've been trying to put the boxes out slowly. And we have no boxes left, so they're out there.
Good. Where are, what kind of places will you find them at?
Martin's Hardware here in Middlebury, Hannaford's, let's see, Ben Franklin, trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head.
And it's not just Middlebury, I mean it's all around?
Right, there's boxes in Bristol and Virgins, so we tried to hit, the whole Addison County with the boxes.
And you have to coordinate all of that?
Yes, and I have some helpers that help me too.
Some elves?
Yes.
Toys for Tots. I know when I mentioned Toys for Tots, earlier today I mentioned Toys for Tots to somebody, and they're like, oh, the Marine Corps. Talk about the Marine Corps involvement in this.
Yes.
I mean, it's been going on for a long time, so that people just, immediately associate the Marines with Toys for Tots.
Yes, the Toys for Tots campaign. The organization is with the National Marines, the National Reserves, and they're down in Quantico, but you'll find tons of units around the U.S. I believe there's 3 here in the Vermont state, but we got a lot of funding from the national organization, and it's just all over the U.S., and we're just one small unit here.
I know if you go to the Toys for Tots national website, you find some history of the involvement, the Marines, how they got involved with Toys for Tots. Can you just give us a nutshell, little history of how it started?
Say, if I can read it here. It started in the 1940s by a Major Bill Hendricks, and he was with the Los Angeles Marine Corps Reserve Unit, and they collected and distributed 5,000 toys to needy children. And that program was so successful that the Marine Corps adopted it and expanded it nationwide as the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots program. And in the intervening years, Marines have conducted successful Toys for Tots campaigns each year, collecting and distributing over 370 million toys.
Wow.
So lots of toys, lots of happy kids during the holiday season.
That's great, and that's what it's all about. This is for needy children, in unfortunate situations. Their parents financially just can't, make it all work for Christmas time, and we want happy children out there, not disappointed children. How did you get involved in this, and you've done this for a number of years now, haven't you?
Yes, I was just somebody in the community who was trying to do an event, and I wanted to collect toys for Toys for Tots, because, you know, I heard of that name. And when I contacted the organization, they said there wasn't a coordinator in Vermont. So I said, well, how hard could it be? And I kind of jumped right in, and now I've been the coordinator for a few years here in Addison County, and it's just kind of grown from there.
And knowing you personally, I know the life you lead. I mean, you are a busy woman already without coordinating this during the holiday season.
Yeah.
So this is a big leap of faith for you.
It is. It's exhausting, but it's worth it. You know, to know that you're doing something good for the community and all the children. You know, and what else can I say?
Now, Jen, you usually get good responses when you call the people. People want to be involved in this. How do you entice them? There's got to be a lot of people out there that say, "Oh no, another cause," you know, "Oh boy, here we go again," you know, that kind of thing. I mean, you're not the only group out there doing good, you know, deeds during the holiday season. There's many other causes out there.
Right.
How do you advertise this? How, I mean, what do you tell them to inspire them to want to be involved with Toys for Tots?
I'm not sure if we really do much to inspire them. I think it's
I mean, is it to the point where you just say, "Hi, this is Jen Heffernan with Toys for Tots. Do you want to be involved?"
Yes.
It is. So
No. Well, some people, you know, it's a well-known name, and pretty much
yours or Toys for Tots?
Toys for Tots, and you know, they already know what it's about, and I think that they are willing to just help out so all the children in the community can have a nice holiday.
Right.
And who could say no to this cute little reindeer?
Have you named him?
No, I haven't. There's a bunch of these out there at the local businesses for our monetary donations. So you'll see those. I know a few of them. There's Greg's Meat Market has some, and so does Middlebury Discount Beverage.
And that's something we should mention too. If you can't, for some reason, donate a toy to this campaign, you can certainly help out with monetary donations.
Yes, yes. We are always looking for monetary donations, and that helps us to spend money locally in the local businesses. So
everyone benefits.
yes, and that's a hard part right there, is trying to raise local money for our campaign. We do get a lot of support through the Toys for Tots, the national organization. There's a big sponsor, Toys R Us, and they give us a huge donation of money that we go and spend at Toys R Us. But it would be really great if we had local money that we could spend in the local businesses and help support, you know, our local businesses.
All right, so how does this work? You've kind of, in the midst of all of this, kind of described a little bit of how this whole operation works. Toys for Tots, you're looking for new unwrapped toys?
Yes, new unwrapped toys, and you can donate those or bring them to a toy collection drop spot. And if you go to the Toys for Tots website, which is toysfortots.org, and you plug in Vermont and Middlebury, you'll be able to find a bunch of different drop locations.
All right. And then again, what happens? I mean, when is the cutoff date? When would you accept the last donated toy?
We're pretty much like probably December 18th.
Okay.
Because then once we have all the toys, we have to get them distributed. And a lot of people wonder, like, well, once you get these toys, how do you get them into the hands of the children? And that's where a lot of the community action groups,
The nonprofit agencies.
right, like ACGAG and CVOEO, the Boys and Girls Club in Virgins, and also a lot of the nurses in the public schools have been a great help too. They know the families and children that are in need, And so we get lists from them, and that's how all these toys get distributed.
Wow, so this, I mean, there's a lot going on here.
Yes. Lots of phone calls, emails.
What is the most rewarding? Have you had some some really heartwarming stories come out of this for you?
Maybe one of my first years when I was, the first years I was doing it, I had a woman contact me. It was a grandmother, and she just her children were having a hard time getting presents for their children. So she came, and I kind of loaded her up with a bunch of toys for her grandkids, and she was very grateful, and the tears running down her face, and it just makes you feel all nice and warm and fuzzy inside.
It makes it all worth it.
Yes.
And that's why you do this. So again, well, one thing I can ask you is, where would people find a list of where drop-off sites are?
On the official Toys for Tots
just
website.
plug in Vermont?
And
Okay.
plug in Vermont, state of Vermont, and then you can click on Middlebury drop sites.
And we will have the list, I understand, on our website too.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
So one way or another, folks, you will get a list of where they are, but places such as Hannaford's, Martin's, you mentioned
Martin's,
here.
trying to think.
Ben Franklin, you mentioned.
Shaw's,
okay.
Ben Franklin, Lollygaggers, the new
Okay.
little store down Frog Hollow.
They're all over.
Yes, Virgin, Shaw's, I believe.
Okay.
Bristol, there's a bunch out in Bristol as well. I believe we're working with the Bristol High School, Mount Abe. There's some students there that are helping with this year's campaign.
Wonderful. So it sounds like, I mean, things are really rolling along for you this season.
Yes, and it's nice to have all the help, too. It's less that I have to do.
And you do a lot.
Yes.
You do a lot. Again, 388-4225 if you have any questions that need to be answered.
Yes.
We'll also have the website on there. Well, I think we've got everything covered.
Terrific.
Wonderful. Have a happy holiday.
You too.
Get some rest when you can.
I will after it's all over. I'll be able to relax.
I think we need to name him Ted.
Ted?
Ted the reindeer. He kind of looks like a Ted. I don't know.
Isn't that cute, though? Why wouldn't you want to put money in him?
If it wasn't for those antlers, he'd look like a camel. Oh, well. He's resting. Look at that. He's nice and comfortable there.
Yeah.
So that is the mascot of the Toys for Tots. He's already got the packages strapped to his back. He's ready.
He's ready and waiting.
And he's going to fall over. Now, before he does, that's going to do it for this segment. Jen Heffernan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a happy holiday.
You too.
All right, that's Toys for Tots. Again, if you need information on where drop-off locations are, and again, through the middle of the month of December is when you can drop off those new unwrapped toys or monetary donations as well at various drop-off sites. We'll have that list on our website, again, INFOcusOnTV.com, and we'll have a link over to the Toys for Tots official site as well if you need more information on that. We have more on the way in just a moment. We're going to go behind the scenes with the folks in the studio that we are filming at right now, MCTV channel 15 and 16 here in Middlebury. We're going to go behind the scenes and find out what it is all about. We are going to talk with the executive director. That would be Dick Thodol when we come back. In Focus, People and Places. Don't touch that dial. Keep it right here.
I'm Porter Knight, author of Organized to Last, the book and DVD on staying organized, with your holiday tip on organizing your holiday shopping. Now, don't panic if you're looking at this and you haven't already done your holiday shopping, like some of those extremely organized people you know who did it all before school started. There's still a chance for you to have a positive holiday shopping experience. The first thing you want to do is think about who you're buying for and what your budget is. That's your plan. Write it down so you can stay within it. Then choose when you're going to go shopping and take your list with you. And remember, what's important about the holiday season and gift giving is the intention, the thought behind the gift. Emphasize that and not the quantity. You don't have to buy a lot. What you want to do is buy carefully. So keep your plan in mind, who you're shopping for and how much you have to spend. Enjoy the shopping experience and then enjoy the gift giving. Happy holidays.
We've all gotten used to the convenience of single-serving and individually wrapped products. But are they that much more convenient? And is it worth it? Large and reusable containers enable us to use less packaging, save money, and do our part for a healthy environment. Let's not burden our landfills and recycling centers any more than we have to. For more information, call your local solid waste district or call the Vermont Recycling Hotline at 1-800-932-7100.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
Hi, I'm Ashley. And we're from
the Chittenden Bank. And you're watching INFOcus People and Places.
Welcome back, everyone. INFOcus People and Places. We are going to turn the tables right now. We're going to do things a little bit different. This is an exclusive, so pay attention. This will not happen often. I don't think it's happened before, and from what they tell me, it probably won't happen again. We are going to go behind the scenes at our host station here, MCTV, Channel 15 and 16, which we'll learn more about as we go behind the scenes with the director of all that is MCTV, Dick Thodo, and his cohort in crime, the youth program coordinator, Jody Bergadek. Welcome to this side of the camera.
Thanks for having us on, Jerry.
Yes.
I really like what you've done to the set here. This is great.
This is the first time you've seen it.
Yeah.
At least the holiday version of the studio. Yeah. We've got some little tinsel and stuff. What is public access? This is a public access establishment. I mean, it sounds like it's pretty self-explanatory. It's accessible by the public, but I'm sure you could run much deeper with it, Dick.
I certainly can. The history of what would be considered public access really goes way back to, you could even take it back as far as 1934 with the original Telecommunications Act, because at that time Congress realized that that there were all these radio frequencies out there, and there was ownership and all that, and there should be some public component to all of the spectrum that's out there. So at that time, they had the first Telecommunications Act, and it called for 33%, a good third of the radio frequencies and radio spectrum being used for public use. And so over the years, this concept has kind of stayed in the mix, but the percentage has really come down quite a bit over the years. And right now, the 1996 Telecommunications Act is in force, and that one of the things that's called for is a franchise fee on cable operators because they use public rights of way. So when a cable operator comes into an area, they've strung their cable along telephone poles, and they're using this public right of way, and so the Telecommunications Act calls for a franchise fee for them for this use of public rights of way. In Vermont, the state of Vermont and the Public Service Board is the franchising agent for cable companies in the state. And what they have done through Vermont Rule 8 is to take this franchise fee and use it as a way of starting public educational and governmental channels. So in most cases, these PEG channels are run by an access management organization, which is independent of the cable company, and they are, as we are, 501c3s. So we are a nonprofit. We have a 7-member board, and we have 2 channels in Middlebury, Channel 15
and 16.
Channel 16. And Channel 15 is, what we would consider our government and public channel. And as I said before, there's public educational and governmental programming that's part of cable access as looking at it as the whole thing. And So for government programming, what people are most familiar with is our coverage of the select board meetings, town meeting, and then we'll have a lot of things that are put on by our legislators. Betty Norval does regular programming, and then we get programming from Washington D.C. that's done by both Peter Welch and Bernie Sanders.
I'm sure Betty Moffat would like to be a legislator. She's done everything else.
That's true. Well, in a way, she serves on boards, so she is.
She certainly serves the public.
Yeah, she's on the school board in Brandon, I believe. And so this is our government coverage, and this is something that we take on the responsibility to do, and to make sure that all of these meetings are covered. And then there's our educational programming, which is on Channel 16, which would be things like the school board meetings, some programming that may be produced by students at the high school or by the college. A lot of the programs here in the Ilsley Library, the speakers downstairs, we include those as educational programming. And then that leaves public access programming. And so this is what makes up the really diverse programming that we have, and your show is a public access program, as are lots of the other things that you see. And so public access is really First Amendment television. It's we give members of the community the opportunity to come in and produce a program, and the only restrictions that we have on the content of programming are, one, that it not be obscene, two, that it not be commercial, three, that no one is slandered or liable, and four, that we don't have any copyright violations. So,
and in dealing with you folks behind the scenes, putting these shows together, sometimes there is a fine line that we have found out.
Yeah,
it can be a little tough sometimes to wrangle through that.
Yeah, it is. It's probably the trickiest area, really, because it's hard to deal with what the exact definition of commercialism is, because usually it involves endorsement of a product or service. Say location information or contact info, and that can be a hard thing to skirt around sometimes, and because especially when you're trying to profile a business and business members who are part of the community and are providing really valuable services, and it can be a little difficult sometimes to avoid that, but by and large over the years it's worked out really well, and I really don't consider it a problem. So.
What kind of a budget does MCTV have? And you mentioned a board. Mm-hmm. What kind of people are on that? How do you become a board member of MCTV?
Well, we have seven board members, and these 7 board members represent there is a board member who represents the select board. In this case, it's Molly Reed. And there's a board member that represents the interests of these boards. There's a board member that represents the interests of the UD3 board, and in this case, this is Abby Sessions. There's a board member who represents the interests of the ID4 board, and that is our chair, Jason Mattel. And then there are 4 additional at-large members. And we have Ed Pete from Cornwall, who's been on our board for quite a while. We've got Sally Johnson from Middlebury. We've got Len Rowell from Middlebury. And
yeah, I think you have a representative from the college.
And we have Betty Moffat.
Betty Moffat.
Gosh, of course.
I mentioned Betty Moffat once, but Betty has been on our board for quite a while.
And do you have somebody that represents the college?
Well, Jason Mattel, our chair, is
okay.
a professor at Middlebury College,
Okay.
but there's not a designated board position for anyone representing Middlebury College.
And I think some of the misconceptions, that answers maybe some of the misconceptions that the town runs this station. That's not entirely true, correct? Or
No, I mean, I think that the town is very supportive of us. We're very, very fortunate to be here on the 3rd floor of the Ilsley Library. I can't think.
And I think there's probably, because of that, some people that think that this is an entity of the Ilsley Library.
Right.
Yes, that's
right. But as I said, we are an independent 501c3. As far as the town's connection to programming, the select board meetings and town meeting are run gavel to gavel, and they determine what's on the agenda. We don't edit any of it, and so you might say that they control the nature of those meetings, but they're public meetings, and our goal is to give the public exactly what happened in that meeting, and we do not interfere with or edit in any way any of this meeting coverage.
And then continuing with the misconceptions, I think there's a lot of people out there. I've talked with some people that mentioned Channel 15, it's the educational network. I think there's people out there that, okay, if it doesn't have commercials on it, if you can't watch like I don't know, Deal or No Deal, any of those kind of things, it's got to be some kind of PBS station.
Yeah, I think that I think what I'll do is turn this question over to our youth programs coordinator, Jody, because she really has more to do with the educational part of this. And so.
Okay.
I agree with you that people do sometimes think we're PBS, but I think the thing that makes us different than PBS is local. You turn on PBS, you don't see you. You don't see the fellow next door. You don't see your neighbors. You don't see, people that you run into every day. So I think for me, that's what makes it us unique.
Dick mentioned that you work closely with the area schools.
I do.
Talk about that. I know you're a teacher yourself.
Yes.
And you love what you do here.
I do. It's my favorite job.
You have a plethora of children through here every summer.
Yes, I do.
You run a lot of different programs. Talk about working with the youth, and from what I gather, the youth are interested in making shows, making TV, as it were.
They are. They definitely are. I think, first off, it's just really fun. And what I do is media literacy, is teaching kids how you make TV. And I also try and teach them the craft. A lot of kids think, I have a computer, I have a camera, I can make TV. And then they come in and they realize, maybe there is more to it than that. And that's what I really like. I really like to see them have the passion and become involved and spend those hours in front of the editing system or going out and shooting or whatever and just sort of developing the craft. And it's great. It's really
and
great.
it's natural for kids, especially here in the 21st century. As I learned in my years in radio, it suddenly went from turntables to all computerized stuff. Same with television now. And of course, kids these days, they're learning from almost day one about computers. So to a lot of them, this is natural stuff.
It is. It's a natural fit. And I think they just enjoy it as well. It's a different way to tell a story. And some kids maybe aren't the best writers or whatever, and it just gives people a different way to tell their story. And yeah, we have kids. We do Rec Park in the summer, and I do some Frog Hollow things. And I think one thing that I'd like people to know is that we are your station, and anybody can come in here. Any youth that has a project that they want to do, just give us a call. We're free. There's no fee. We're here to help you learn how to do it.
That shocked me from day one, being involved with you folks, is that, it is all free. You can come in. And on top of that, Jody, you train the people.
Yes, we do.
How to use the cameras and the equipment.
Right. That's our goal, is to train everybody in town.
There we go. Yep. That would be quite a town then.
It would be. We're working on it, one person at a time.
Everybody out there with a camera.
That's right.
Actually, you don't have. I don't think you could give everybody a camera.
Not at the same time.
Do have a. We should warn people ahead of time. You do have a limited amount of cameras to lend out.
We do, but we can arrange things. Just come in with the idea. Look at you. You had this great idea, and
We've hogged your cameras.
Not at all.
I will admit that.
Not at all. Not at all. You do great programming.
We have been busy since starting this
You have.
like over a year ago.
I know. Amazing.
And it has been amazing. All right, we've talked about what you offer. Jody, talk about a staff. There's you two.
That's it.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Well, there's Kathy too.
Yes,
Kathy, we can't
Wheatley
forget
comes
Kathy.
in. Yes, very helpful.
But that really is it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm full time. Jody is 3/4 time, and Kathy is about quarter, a little less than quarter time. She's about a fifth time. And so, like I said, that what we do as staff members is really just to keep the ship afloat, keep the train on the tracks, and that sort of thing. We program all the shows that come in. We open the door for people to come in. We I have to do a lot of administrative stuff. Just running a small 501c3 can be pretty time consuming because there's a lot of paperwork that we need to keep up with.
I have seen you doing a lot of paperwork.
Yes.
Takes up a lot of your time.
It does. Yeah.
We toyed with something here. I was asked to help out with it and had a lot of fun with it last winter at the charity women's hockey
Oh yeah,
tournament.
Yes. That was
Live broadcasting. We should mention that probably 99% of what you do is all pre-taped, packaged, and everything. Does not air in real time.
But Select Board does.
Select Board does.
Yes.
But other than that, really, you don't have a lot of live broadcasts. We
We-
did air some live stuff, though, from that tournament.
Yeah.
We have
do
the
it again.
capacity to go live. Going live is a bit more work than taping, but our select board meetings are live. Our
Graduation.
school board meetings are live.
Graduations.
Graduation is live.
A Memorial Day parade?
Memorial
Yes,
Day parade.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean, again, that's something that we've done for years. We also did the firefighters parade live this summer, and that we're lucky to be able to get up on the roof here in the library and set up some cameras and get Larry Volkert and Kevin Parizzo to do the play-by-play. And but we can certainly do live programming because we have the reverse feeds.
And if somebody wants something done live, all they need to do is call you, come in, visit you.
But they also need to be prepared to commit some effort into the whole thing because it's like that. In that case, it was my sister who got things rolling for the tournament, and she helped a lot in getting things going and got you involved. And it's not like somebody can say, well, why don't you just do this live? And I mean, we really need to put together a good crew of volunteers to make it happen. But we're certainly willing to work with people on that.
Over the years, speaking of hockey, you've had some sports coverage, maybe not as much as you'd like, and again, that would take a commitment from somebody in the community to step forward and do something.
Our sports coverage has been very spotty over the years. It's gone from non-existent in some cases to excellent in others, and the common denominator is that we've had someone who's come in and taken the ball and run with it.
A parent of a player.
Yeah, it's like some of the going way back in time. I remember Bobby Bugor taped all his daughter's basketball games, and brought the tapes in to us. And Tom Hanley did his son's hockey games, and the Perrines, Ken and Carolyn. They had a great team because Carolyn would run the camera and Ken would do the play-by-play. Doug Atwood did his son's football games. And so there have been parents who've, and I'm sure I'm forgetting other people, and my apologies for that. But all of a sudden I'm remembering a lot more, so I won't continue on the list. But that's what it takes is a committed volunteer who's willing to carry through with the whole thing.
This is all about community service. One thing that we have discussed from time to time is like the lack really now of local radio coverage of things. How does MCTV, how would you like MCTV to be able to step in, if possible, and fill a void like that?
Well, I think it's really unfortunate that there's a void like that. I mean, Jerry, you and I, back when you were on the radio, I would go over and be a guest on your show, and then you
and you're
could come.
a guest on my show again.
Yeah,
That's right.
and you, your reach through the radio was much bigger than our reach, and I think it's just a real shame that that FAD doesn't have local talk anymore. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would go into a barn or something, and there would be FAD, on the air, and people listening to you, or you go into a shop somewhere, and there's FAD playing, and so for background, for while people are working, I think radio is a great source. I have had someone told me once that she always has MCTV on when she irons, so. I don't know if that's quite the same, but I would I think that any outlet for local media is really important. It's really very unfortunate that it doesn't fit the business plan of the people who own the licenses in the major media to have local programming. It just the business plan is to just produce things centrally and then market it to as large an audience as possible, and that's sort of a function of the way that the architecture of network architectures and business consolidations, and it's part of a bigger picture.
And not to knock the local print media, which is very good around here. You've got 3 major papers right here. Along with, of course, the Burlington paper. But, I mean, there's something about being able to turn on a radio and hear, somebody's voice. It's very comforting, to a lot of people to know that there's somebody right there able to give them, information that they need. And, of course, with MCTV, turn it on and be able to see it. Which brings me to another aspect that we haven't brought up yet, is your community events calendar, which is on there continually when you don't have a program running.
Yeah, we have a bulletin board where people can send in announcements, and we'll just scroll through with pages. And this comes on in between programs. We've got a little bit of a problem integrating it into our present server software, so it's not always on as much as it used to be in the past. But we will take, but it's definitely on at night, and so we're trying to find ways to get it on more during the day, when maybe even some dedicated times when people would know that they could just go and look and see what was coming up on the air.
And you don't have a lot of late breaking news kind of bulletins that come out, but I do want you to mention your experiences with the now infamous train derailment. And a lot of people were thankful that you did what you did.
Well, we, of course, here in the library, the day it happened, we had the window open, and we can always hear the train go by, and sometimes it's a little louder than usual. In this particular day, it was quite a bit louder than usual, and your producer Vinny was looking out the window and said, Dick, go get a camera, and you should. Everybody's running down there, and so I went down and down by Mr. Ups, and of course there was the rail cars were overturned, and there was the small fire right by there, and so at the time, Tina, who the parking works with parking with the police, was down in there, and she ordered the evacuation through the radio of the area and everything. But I was thinking, about this story about in North Dakota when there'd been a derailment and there was some kind of a toxic spill with a train, and everyone was desperately trying to call the radio station. and apparently the radio station there, they gave the impression that they had a local studio, but they didn't really. It was somewhere in St. Louis. And so I was thinking about this, and I said, Jesus, I don't really know if I want to, if I want to have this one on me. So I called the police department, asked if we could put some information on, and so we put I talked to the chief, and I talked to Tom Scanlon, and so it seemed like the best thing to do was just to put up text pages that would explain what what areas were being evacuated, where traffic was being diverted, and that sort of thing. And so I put that up, and I came back a few times during the night to update it, and then afterwards we put up more information about where people could go to make their claims, and where to go for emergency shelter and that sort of thing. And I was glad to do it. I wish that that there were more people who could see that, but
Sure.
But between the town's website, and we tried to mirror whatever was on the town's website on our bulletin board.
Which leads me to another question. Do you guys have a website?
We do not.
Or is that on the wish
We do not.
list?
That's coming soon.
The reason it's not on is we're trying to work out a way to automate it so that it doesn't require a lot of upkeep, because we're kind of short on time to update things like that. And but if anybody wants to see our schedule, they can go to the town's website and find that, and we'll hope
Or
to have
local
something
papers
up.
as
Yeah,
well.
local papers.
Jody, speaking of a wish list, I mean, are there things that you folks would still love to add and integrate, make better as far as the operations here go?
It's always just time. It's the one thing that I especially run out of all the time. I'd love to be in more schools. I'd love to get out and do more things. It's just scheduling, just time.
And what is in the future for the area youth as far as this is concerned? What kind of things?
Well, I think this summer, I'm happy to say that last summer the classes that we have were filled up in a half hour.
Wow.
So we're going to add another section. So we did 2 last year. We're going to do 3. And then I'm also toying with the idea of doing something in the winter. Maybe during a school break or February vacation or something like that. But we've had repeats too, which is really fun. I've had one young fellow that's done it 3 times.
Wow.
So I'm trying to, that's sort of the next thing for me, is to think of some winter things to do for kids.
I imagine that a lot of the area schools, the high schools, have their own video arts
They do.
programs, so that kind of takes that bunch away from you.
Yeah. I do elementary school though. I've done from kindergarten on up.
Right.
And kindergarten is kind of fun because they have this interesting, they can't figure out how they can be on TV and in their own body, and so it's really neat to sort of teach them about that thing. It's great.
That leads me to the question of how do you publicize yourselves? I know that you do have a schedule in the Addison Independent, correct?
And
But as far as that, I mean, I don't see like big posters out there, public access television available to you. How do you get the word out? I mean, obviously this is one way here, talking about yourself, but you don't really do a whole lot of that.
No, and it's something that we could do more of. We certainly could. And as Jody was mentioning a few minutes ago, if there's anything that we would really like more of, it's time. Because if we had more time to do these things, we would be doing them. And that's what we're certainly aware of our shortcomings. But since Middlebury is a small town, a lot of what we do for outreach is really one-on-one. When we try to encourage anyone who expresses an interest to come in and talk about what they might have in mind. We hope that the example of you and other producers will encourage people to become involved, and we just want to stress the fact that we will do the best that we can to help people produce programs, and again, it's time. Time is the currency of MCTV. It's funny, when a lot of times people do an economic analysis of this and that, and it's dollars that count, and certainly dollars count here because we run on a very tight budget. But time is a big thing.
One thing I would like to take a quick moment to talk about is us as filmmakers, like on INFOcus, for example. We are not employees of you folks. I mean, a lot of people, I think that we work for you guys, but actually we are independent filmmakers. And anybody, that like Betty Moffat, Betty Nuovo, Ron Slabaugh, I mean, they're all independent filmmakers that utilize the facilities here to get their show out.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Jerry, because if you really wanted to put it in the right way, we work for you.
Yes.
I mean,
that's just strange.
We really do work for the community because it's the the largest part of our funding really comes from cable subscribers, and they're paying the freight for this to happen through the franchise fee that is passed on to them as a cost of doing business by the cable company. It's not necessarily the cable company that's paying for this. It's all passed on to the subscribers, and so we feel a deep responsibility to the people who watch, who subscribe to cable and watch MCTV, and then we have a deep responsibility to people like you who come in and produce the programs, because you are not being paid for this, and the value of what we do, again, as I mentioned before about time being the currency of MCTV, if we were to take all the volunteer time that goes in and look at that and its value and multiply that by so much an hour and everything, that would take our budget up to some pretty huge amount. Because if you look at other commercial television stations, they're really affiliates.
Yes.
Most of their programming is just coming right through in a feed, and then they'll do some local news or a few small local programming. But we're trying to do everything here. We're just producing our own programming, and we have some programming that's imported, but a large percentage is produced right here by us and volunteers. And so it's a different ballgame.
Speaking of that, something that I know you folks are excited about, we've been excited about for a long time. It's not here yet, but there's a statewide public access service. Can you explain what that is all about?
Yes, it's been in the works for what seems like forever. We've talked about it. It's a way for public access or PEG access channels all over the state to share programming. We were sort of in the forefront of it when Bill Clinton did the address at this year's Middlebury commencement, because we did do a live coverage of both Chief Justice Roberts and former President Clinton to really help the college meet the overflow crowd. They could tell people that they didn't necessarily have to go up to the college to see it if they wanted to stay home. We would have it on Channel 16. So that's what we did with Chief Justice Roberts. With Clinton, when he came in, we were able to rent bandwidth to take and use QuickTime Broadcaster to push a feed upstream to Burlington, Rutland, Brattleboro, and Montpelier. So they were able to put this feed on live. And so this was really the first big statewide feed, and when we get the bugs out of this system, we hope to be able to do a lot of things statewide, just to move programmings that have been recorded around, but also to do some simultaneous live stuff.
Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is, in theory, eventually, my show, other folks' show here that you see locally would be able to be aired statewide.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the year, I would have told you that you'd be doing it by now, but
We're being patient.
Maybe you'll be doing it by the end of December.
That would be a nice Christmas present.
Yeah.
Yep.
Certainly would be. I asked Jody, I'll ask you, Dick, what's the future? I guess that's the main thing on the horizon. Hopefully, what else?
Well, we we're constantly trying to upgrade our facilities and our practices and everything to keep up with this technology, which is just racing forward. I mean, the changes in television technology have just, and now as we move more to an internet-based distribution, we're just trying to keep up as best we can and still meet the needs of the community. So the future is really interesting, and that's one great thing about this job is it's really challenging because there's a lot changing fast. There's the thing that we worry about is that maybe at the federal level there's a lot going on in the FCC now where they want to there's a lot of influence to try to cut back on this type of thing because, as I said, it doesn't really fit in with the business models of large media companies. That we see as a threat to our existence, but so far nothing awful has really happened. So we'll just look forward to trying to keep up and to meet the needs of the community.
Well, my hope for you folks is that you're better appreciated by the community for all the work that you do. I know that Vinny and myself, we just want to thank you folks for all you've done for us for the year or so that you've had to put up with us.
Well, we want to thank you for all you've done for us.
Right.
So.
Well, keep up the great work. Dick Thodall, Director of Middlebury Community Television, Channel 15 and 16, and his sidekick,
Yes.
partner in crime, Youth Programs Coordinator, Jody Bergedick. Thank you so much. Happy holidays to both of you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for having us on.
And speaking of holidays, again, want to thank Jen Heffernan for coming in and telling us all about that wonderful thing that they do in the community, Toys for Tots. And again, go to our website, INFOcusOnTV.com, for all of the drop-off sites, which I believe are being added to continually, probably as we speak. So check in to INFOcusOnTV.com for that updated list where you can drop off those new unwrapped toys or your monetary donations as well. Happy holidays, everyone. Again, thanks to Jen Heffernan. Thanks to the crew here at MCTV for joining us on this side of the camera. Wasn't too painful, was it?
No.
Nah.
Get a good look at those faces because you'll probably never see them again. At least on this, on MCTV, on the Channel 15 on this side of the camera. Well, you'll see me again. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Very soon throughout the holiday season and into 2008 as we continue to do the great work that we do here on InFocus People and Places. Until next time, take care.